Hi, we're back with episode 22 of the Virtual Lost Podcast. My name is Robert, and unfortunately, my co-host Julian couldn't make it to today's episode, so I'll be running this one solo. This week we had a Nintendo Direct. I think that everyone kind of heard the news about it, not because of the games, but because of the Mario movie that is apparently being created by Nintendo. And the cast is actually just something, it seems like a lot of people that you wouldn't expect to see in a Mario movie. Is Chris Pratt as Mario, Charlie Day as Luigi, Anya Taylor-Joy Princess Peach, Jack Black as Bowser, Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong, and Keegan-Michael Key is Toad. This is like an Avengers lineup, like cast, but we got it for the Mario movie. Apparently, the movie's coming out next year. Pre-ordered tickets. I don't know. It's weird to me. It's weird to me because I just think of this as like, I'm so used to these characters not having voices. Like, I'm used to them having dialogue, is what I should say. So it's odd to me, the idea that I'll be maybe in the future associating the voice of Chris Pratt with Mario and, Seth Rogen with Donkey Kong. It's just an odd idea. And I don't know if I'll watch the movie because of it. It's something that it's off-putting to think about, is what I'd say. And then some of the games that were talked about in Nintendo Direct were actually, some of them seemed very interesting to me. We had the Metroid Dread. We've talked about it a few weeks in this podcast. It looks fucking amazing. That's all I'll say. October 8th, apparently is the release date. So probably in like 2 episodes or now, I'll probably have bought it to some degree and played a little bit. Then I'll give my actual impressions of the game. Because right now I'm just really in the hype phase. And then there was Voice of Cards. Voice of Cards is a Square Enix RPG, but the interesting thing about it is it has Yoko Taro as the director, who who is director of the Nier and Drakengard franchise. Keiichi Okabe, which again, Nier, Drakengard, he's the composer for all the music. Anyone who kind of follows my social media presence, I love his music. So I immediately had to go for this. And then there's also the Drakengard character designer, I believe, is the third person within that staff that I remembered noticing. And so I'm expecting great things. I haven't played it. It's a card RPG, so I'm very curious on how much it's like Hearthstone, Shadowverse, those kinds of games. But if those people are involved, then I'm probably gonna buy it. I'm expecting some good things from it. If anything, I got some new music to listen to, regardless of how the game is. But I'm hopeful. And then there's some other games that got announced. Splatoon 3, which people were hyped about. I haven't played Splatoon 1 or 2, so I have no experience on the matter. Bayonetta 3, same story. People are hyped, but I haven't played Bayonetta 1 or 2, so I can't really join in on that hype. And then there was actually a Kirby RPG. That was actually it. There was a Kirby RPG that looked enjoyable. It gave me kind of a mix of, like, strangely enough, like Nier atmosphere, like the deserted city, or Nier Automata's deserted city or city ruins, but then with the open world perspective it took, reminded me of Super Mario Odyssey. So, a Kirby RPG. I actually haven't played a Kirby game since GameCube. I think it was Kirby's Air Ride Joy or something along those lines. It was just a game to play with cousins. Didn't really have a story to it, so it's gonna be a big thing for me trying to figure out how to. I don't know. I never got into playing Kirby games. I have some friends who are really into them, but for me, it was mostly Legend of Zelda. And yeah, out of the Nintendo franchises, Zelda was the one that I think I stuck with the most. I played a bit of Samus, a bit of Mario, not really any of Kirby, but Zelda's the one that I kind of just played a lot. And then we also had, oh yeah, the Chocobo Grand Prix racing game, which I thought was a meme. I don't know, Square. I don't think that one's gonna do too well. Personally, I don't know how I feel about this one. I feel like there's a lot of racing games as of recent in terms of historical franchises. Mario always has one, but Mario Kart is just like a staple. It's something that when you get a console, it's one of the ones you would try to get at all costs. Mario Kart and Mario Party. I don't know why. Those are the two. And if you don't have those, then it's tough. But like those ones are actual just, you could have people over and just play them for fun. Those are like staples. But then there's also like in terms of racing games as a recent, there was a Sonic one. There was I'm blanking on it. Was it PlayStation Racing? I think there was PlayStation All-Stars Racing, something along those lines of just a whole bunch of PlayStation characters. And then we have a specifically Square Enix Chocobo Racing, which is just a Final Fantasy character, or it's the birds that you ride on, if anyone who hasn't played or doesn't know what a Chocobo is. So it's a very small niche, I would say. And I don't know. I'll be honest. Actually, the biggest thing is I don't know the audience for this one. Because, in my opinion, Chocobos are their design is cute. That's all I'll say. It's a cute design. But the thing is, for most of the people who know what the character is, they are Final Fantasy fans. And the thing is, most of the Final Fantasy fans are a bit older in age, I would say now. Probably late 18 to early, honestly, go anywhere to like 40s, 50s. When I think of racing games, I think of, for the family. And typically the people buying the games are on the younger side. So, you'd expect, I don't see a kid going up and saying, I want this game. Instead, if you'd have a family if you were to have a family who were to get a game, of course the family's going to choose Mario Kart over what I would say is a B-rated title. Like, no one's gonna, if you had the option between the two and they're roughly at the same price, I don't know how many people are gonna lean over towards the Chocobo Grand Prix racing game over Mario Kart 8 or 9 or whatever the hell is in the future. So it's just an odd one to me. It's an odd one. If anything, they could have done music. Honestly, there's so many people who talk about Final Fantasy's music. You have like 30-ish games probably of material. You guys kind of made a music game, Rock Band, Final Fantasy version. I'd like to see it. That's all I'll say. Then we had Triangle Strategy. That was the other one. Another Square Enix game. Square Enix apparently allocated 15 of the 35 minutes of this Nintendo Direct. They put money into this Nintendo Direct because they had the voice of cards, Chocobo Grand Prix Racing, and Triangle Strategy. Triangle Strategy is a strategy RPG, very similar to Fire Emblem Fire Emblem in general is a series, but Fire Emblem Three Houses and XCOM, where it's a grid type tactics game. That's the best way to describe it. Basically, you stand on a spot. People are X spots away. You can maybe attack them based off the range of your weapons or magic, etc. I gotta stop saying etc. Actually, now I think about it, I always use it as like a throwaway to get me off of a topic. But basically, if you played Fire Emblem Three Houses, you might be interested in this game. If you played XCOM, might be interested in this game. I'm gonna gear that it's more in the middle of those two games, because I'd say Fire Emblem Three Houses is less about. There's some people who genuinely love the combat system, but I'll be honest, most of the people I see who talk about Fire Emblem as of recent are talking about it because of the characters. And then people who play XCOM are on the complete other side, where No one gives a shit about the characters or the story. You just want a freaking challenge. You are a borderline masochist who just, is in there for the pain of playing XCOM. I played XCOM. I uh I, I regret it. No, I'm joking. It's fun. It's just very difficult. Something I would never say someone to challenge on the hardest difficulty. It's one of the few games I'd actually say play on the easiest difficulty for the first playthrough, because that game is just difficult for no damn reason. Actually, good reason. But you'll never get a challenge like that on a Fire Emblem game. So I'm expecting this game called Triangle Strategy to be somewhere in the middle of that, where it's a certain amount of it is due to the characters and their likabilities, but then I would hope that the overall mechanics and story and the challenge is there from an XCOM game. But we'll see. It's just in the announcement stage, or they had a brief trailer. And it gives me like Final Fantasy Tactics kind of graphic design of the 2D pixels, or 2D pixel art. And then, the last piece of news that I remember seeing was Nintendo's also releasing a new membership service plan, which I thought was interesting. Makes sense, because honestly, they've been adding a lot of stuff to the Nintendo membership, so there's a point where the price couldn't keep up, especially if they overhauled old games. Because the big announcement for this one was that they are adding Nintendo 64 games to Switch Online and Sega Genesis games to Switch Online. But those are both behind the new service plan that it's under. So now there's going to be 2 levels to it. There's the base one, which will give you online capabilities, SNES and NES games, I believe. And then this newer plan is going to also include Nintendo 64 games. I saw Star Fox, Ocarina of Time, Mario Kart 64, and Sega Genesis games like Sonic and I think Castlevania. I could be wrong. Or no, was it Castlevania or is it Contra? Contra. One of the Contras and one of the Castlevanias. But 2 levels. They didn't say anything about pricing on the new one, because it does seem like it'd be fun. If anything, it seems like something that you would, if there's a game you really want to play on 64, you'd upgrade your plan for maybe like 1 month or 2, and then switch back to your old plan. It's a good idea. And then there's always going to be the people who want to keep staying on the new membership plan. It all depends on how the new price, or the price difference between the current 2 plans are. And that's getting released in late next month in October. So we'll see how it goes. See what really there is. I'll be honest, a lot of stuff's coming out soon. October and like the end of the year, of course, always sees a lot of stuff in December and so, but specifically October, I'm seeing a lot of like releases and a lot of hype being built around things. I don't know if it's actually is October. One of the things I was going to mention was I'm really excited for SMT5 or Shin Megami Tensei 5. So I need to save up some money for that one. I need to actually finish Persona 5 Royal soon so that I can be prepared for some new games. I need to finish Amori. There's a lot of games I want to play. But I think that was it for the Nintendo Direct. There was a lot of news, so I had to kind of just bullet it all so I can remember some of it. We also saw a Demon Slayer Season 2 release date. It's apparently Sunday, December 5th, and it's going to cover the district arc. And I'm really excited. One of the interesting things that they mentioned is that they're actually turning the train movie that was in theaters, into a 6-episode that is going to be, or 6-episode, I don't know if it's weird, it'd be weird to say series, but basically it's the 6 episodes that are going to basically cover over all the scenes in the movie, but then also there's apparently like 20 minutes of extra film. I don't know if it's probably all split up within certain parts, but I think it's supposed to be the 6 weeks prior to December 5th of the season 2 release. It's supposed to build up towards that, which actually is a pretty fun thing if you already have, you know, the movie content out there for a while and you could add like 15-20 minutes. I'm very curious on where they added the 20 minutes though, because now I'm thinking about it, it does pretty good job on, or maybe it's a transitionary period between the two, between the movie and the where the season 2 is going to start. Oh man, I need to reread Demon Slayer. It's been a long time, but season 2 should be good. Ufotable, I believe is the company name, should handle it. Oh, that was a funny thing that I saw. Ufotable's I don't know if it's their CEO, manager, one of the high rankers within the company. I forget if we mentioned it on a previous episode, but he was found guilty of tax evasion. And then recently, like last week or so, he came out with a statement saying that he didn't know his tax evasion would have an impact on the company. I just found that to be funny. It's like, you as a high ranker within the company don't think your actions have any impact on the company that like you're working for? It's just like a complete, complete disregard for the people who are working under him. And, tax evasion. Don't do it, kids. And then I think that was it for news. There wasn't too much anime news this week. Gaming news was mostly covered on that Nintendo Direct. I think that there was something regarding... Oh no, we talked about Deltarune last week, so there's nothing regarding that. But there was something that came in to the mail for me today, which I guess I'll just close off this episode with a show and tell. So I mentioned it weeks back that I got a vinyl set for Nier Replicant, the 10+1 year LP or vinyl LP box. I hope to show them off a little bit. Let's see if I can get it clean. This is the inside cover of Shadow Lord and Yona. And the funny thing is about this vinyl, or these 4 vinyls, are that it's basically just 4 songs, but different versions of it. So, like, I hate that I'm having to show them off on the other side, because all of them are on my left side, but more camera space on the right side. This is the Devil and Popola, and then there's like 8 versions of the song, mostly because a bunch of different arrangements, some of them classical, some of them from different album versions. There's a mandolin ensemble version, which sounds fancy, but I don't know what the hell it is. And then there's like 6 versions within the game. So that was the Devil of Popola one. There was the Emil one, which I believe this one is. Yeah, Emil, Karma, Sacrifice piano version, recorder ensemble. And so I'm going to have to get some new vinyl frames, because that's one of the things I like to do is get them into frames. I'm going to put them up on my wall. The Kaine version that has all 8. I think the unique one of this one was the oboe, is that how it's pronounced? And bassoon ensemble version. And then there was finally the Nier, which has actually 2 tracks. It's a mix of Snow and Summer and Shadow Lord. And yeah, this one has a sax ensemble. So there's 8 songs, or not 8 songs. There's pretty much 8 versions of each song on every vinyl. And I think that's all I'm going to be listening to after this episode. I have to take this into post and then cut down on some of the episode, because oh my god, I cannot start off episodes. I don't know how Julian does it. I get so nervous starting off an episode for no damn reason. It's tough. It's tough on me. But while I was going through my Nier vinyl, I remembered I got the Persona 5 Royal vinyl. I didn't know that these things are dual-sided, so it has I didn't know also it's trifold, because this thing is actually quite large. And it has the old calendar from Persona. If you play the game, you know what it's like. But each one of these vinyls are, on a gold design, and both of them have a side that is one version being their day-to-day look, and then the other side being their um, Phantom Thieves look. I don't know. I just thought they were cool. About like seven or so vinyls I need to get frames for, because I have two near ones and two Celeste ones. And Jesus Christ, I don't know if I have enough wall room. I'm gonna have to take down some posters if I get some enough frames. Oh, and then there was another vinyl that I just saw that I missed. It was the I was so irritated when I saw it because I'm a big fan of the Valhalla soundtrack. It's Valhalla um Cyberpunk Bartender is like the full name of the game. And has a really good OST by Garoad. I don't know how it's pronounced. Never knew how it's pronounced. And it's on Spotify, so I've listened to it a bunch. I've been trying to find that vinyl for probably about a year and a half, seeing if it goes on sale or anything. And apparently, in like June, there wasn't a restock because I have it myself set up for email notifications to be reminded. But apparently in June, it wasn't a restock. They released a 5-year anniversary of the release. So they released a new product that had all new cover arts, all new designs, and I freaking missed it. So I'm really bummed about that. It sold for like 100. So I like found this out like 30 minutes before I started recording this, and now they're reselling for like 280, 300, and I don't have that kind of money. So once again, I'm on the lookout for this vinyl, because it also didn't just have the original OST. It also had the OST towards the prequel game and also the B-sides that they released, or like they were called special tracks. And there's some really good special tracks that I remember being in there. So the fact that I missed that, it hurts. It hurts. I don't know how I missed that one, because I'm normally pretty good on keeping up with the games that I like their releases and everything. So I have to figure out if either that thing's ever going to get restocked, or if I'll have to figure out if I don't want to spend 300. I don't have money to spend 300, but they're just so nice. The OST is so nice, and then the cover arts on all these, beautiful, beautiful, very simplistic. It's just very. Why don't I have them? Why did I not notice? I have to follow some more people on Twitter, apparently, is what I have to do, because these kinds of things shouldn't be happening. And tomorrow I have to wake up early. I have to wake up early, try to get some Jordan 1 mids, because they are a very nice brown color that remind me of the first pair of shoes that like I wanted when I first started buying shoes, but I was unable to get. They were the Air Jordan 1 Mid Milans. And I spent like 2-3 weeks prior just trying to figure out everything about them before the release. And the day before, I realized these are only an EU exclusive release. So I'm unable to get them. And I remember right when they dropped, I started checking reselling sites. And they went from, I think they were 120 on at retail, and checking, and they went up to 170. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll wait a little bit and see if they drop any lower. And the moment I made that decision, I screwed myself. I should have just full sent it $50 for those shoes, because then like later that day, or is the next morning, I checked, it went up to like 300. And I was like, wow, it's over for me. I'm not paying 300 for these shoes. And I think now they hover at like 450 or 520 is roughly what my size stays about. So, I'm trying to get these shoes tomorrow. They're not as beautiful as the mid Milans, but they are a very nice looking shoe. So, gotta try my best and, you know, hopefully get the drop. We'll see how it goes. I know some people aren't crazy on mids, but, you know, people will resell them. So there's always going to be that competition on drops. Oh man, drops are. People need to stop on this shit. Graphics cards, shoes, anything that's limited edition. It's just so hard to get right now. Actually, it's been hard to get for a while, but we'll keep trying. And one of the things, I guess I'll just close off this episode. Got my PS5 out of the storage shed. I actually got locked out of my house earlier today trying to get this thing. So I'm gonna probably play Persona 5 Royal. I also have no window shade, so it's getting actually kind of hot in my room. I do, or no window screen. I had to take it down to sneak back into my room because I got locked outside because everyone in the 10 minutes I was gone in the shed, I guess everyone left and decided to lock all the doors. So luckily I kept my window open and it gave me a means to get back inside of the house because I didn't have my phone, my keys, anything. And took a nap for like 20 minutes because I thought someone was going to be here or like come back. Didn't really happen. So I just made the executive decision to just take down my window screen. So I'm going to have to either put it back in that way, which had some problems prior, or I'll just get a one of the a roll of mesh screen and then put it up there as a replacement. Main problem is I just want to be able to have my window open without bugs getting inside the room. Got to keep the cleanliness of this house. But we're getting a little off track. I think that you could probably call it for today's episode. About 30 or so minutes. Episode 22, Virtually Lost. Hopefully episode 23 we can get things back into order. Hopefully I can get my vinyls, or hopefully I can get my shoes. The vinyl I pretty much have to give up on unless I'm like rolling in money, or unless there's a restock. That vinyl itself dropped at 100, so yeah, it'll be tough to get unless I want to pay someone 300. Sad. Oh yeah, that was some of the stuff in October. Hypeland's releasing some stuff. There were 3 collabs I remember seeing. I believe it was Zatch Bell, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Yu Yu Hakusho. I finished Yu Yu Hakusho. Amazing. One of my favorites animes. So I'm going for that collab. I hope to get probably, actually, I was hoping to get something Hiei or Yusuke related, but I like the whole cast, and, depends on what's actually being dropped, because I think I like all the characters enough to where it's mostly about probably how the design or the actual article of clothing it is what matters most to me right now. But yeah, and then I ordered a flag. I don't know if you could tell because the way it's recorded, I only see a squared version rather than the full rectangle 1920 by 1080. There used to be a Sailor Moon flag above my bed. However, I took it down and I am actually getting a Yu Yu Hakusho one, so I'll hopefully have that one up by next week. I think that covers it for today's episode. We will be back with episode 23 of the Virtually Lost podcast. See you next week. Bye.